Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say. Mother. Mother.
Fuck the media. Apparently that title change for the name of this podcast couldn't be more appropriate. It's the attitude I have every time I hit the record button. All right, a little bit of commentary on the protests in Charlotte last night. And before I get to that, just to finish up the thoughts I had on, which I know we're rambling and all over the place and probably disconnected in the last podcast. I think that there is a concerted effort to manipulate certain groups, to inflame certain groups along racial lines in this country. Yes, I believe it is a conspiratorial black ops secret plan by some force out there. I don't know what the force is. I said that yesterday. I have no idea. Take your pick. But I think there's something rotten in Denmark that all this shit happens. And I was merely pointing out yesterday this weird pattern where we have an act of terror and then black men being shot by police officers right afterwards. It keeps us in a state of fear, in a state of unrest, and in a state of division. And I believe that's by design, by sinister design. I don't know by who, but it's becoming more and more apparent to me that it's not just the new normal. It's not just the way things are now. It's just the way the world is now in 2016. No, it isn't. It isn't. Don't ask me how this shit gets accomplished, because I don't know that either. How do you get a guy who's sitting in a car, supposedly reading a book and doing the same thing he's done day after day, to get out of his car with a firearm when he doesn't own a firearm? Or does he have a book? I don't know. How do you get a cop to shoot someone? How do you get this lady cop who shot this guy, this supposed stranded motorist? How do you get her to discharge her firearm at a guy that's supposedly got his hands up? You have to start asking questions. I understand that this is all tragic and it's horrific. I agree, especially if you're black in America in 2016, to watch this shit happen. But it's also being fed to us. Let's not forget that. It's being intentionally fed to us. I guarantee you we can go find footage of white people being shot by cops in much the same fashion. But that's not being put on the news. It does happen. So let's not forget that fact. But let's put the emotions aside for a minute and just ask the question. Here's the question I don't ever hear answered. Why are these cops doing this? Why is this happening? If you listen to one side, you'd swear it's like they woke up in the morning, put their police uniform on, strapped their shit on, put their gun in the holster and went, you know what, I'm going to go kill me a nigger today. As soon as one of them looks at me cross-eyed, I'm going to pop a cap in his fucking ass. That's what you hear from one side. And the other side is, I feared for my life. These police officers are fearing for their lives. They acted in self-defense. It's justified. Neither one of those arguments makes sense to me. So as with most things, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I think the truth is probably something we're never going to get. How could some shadow government, some outside force, some foreign entity, Illuminati, New World Order shit make this happen? I don't fucking know, but it sure raises a lot of questions in my mind. That's all I was saying yesterday. I could pose a bunch of theories to you. Well, we all have cell phones now, so maybe they're sending signals to our brain. I know. Get out the tinfoil hats, everybody. I know. Think I like thinking these thoughts? No. But you have to think about everything. You can't exclude things. You have to consider everything before you can come up with a logical and reasoned answer to some of these questions. So I'm just throwing it out there. And at the very minimum, I repeat my question to those in the black community who feel that they've been used for 200 plus years by white America. Who's using you now? Are you being used again? Are you being used? Black Lives Matter. Are you being used to, I don't know, perpetuate some kind of plan that includes a racial divide? All right, back onto the protest now. What I witnessed last night. And what I heard this morning on the despicable media. Apparently, police donning riot gear is an act of aggression. That's what I just heard. That everything was just fine. The protest was peaceful until the cops showed up in riot gear, and then the shit hit the proverbial fan. So what's going to happen tonight when there's National Guard troops on the streets of Charlotte? Is that another provocation? Oh, I'm sure it will be seen as that by many. I witnessed people bringing their children to a protest. That really bothers me. And it says a lot to me about the mindset of some of these people. You're just dumb. You're just dumb. Do you care about your family? What are you bringing children to a protest for? Anybody with an ounce of common sense knows that any large gathering of people in a protest setting can turn ugly real fucking quick. Same thing happened here in my home state of North Dakota, where they're protesting this pipeline. The Native Americans are protesting this pipeline. They bring their kids. You know, they're holding baseball bats and pipes and their kids. Something's wrong. Real wrong there. Just watching the chaos on TV last night. Watching it just degrade into anarchy. Watching white hipsters walking around in the streets with bandanas over their faces so A, they wouldn't be overtaken by the tear gas, and B, so people wouldn't recognize them. Get the fuck out of there. Just get out. What are you doing there? Your white guilt is on display, and it's pathetic. Then out comes the crotch rockets and four-wheelers riding around, doing wheelies. How did no one get run over? That's another thing I couldn't figure out. How did no one get run over? listening to the mayor of Charlotte on CNN last night. This is not who we are. Yeah, it is who you are. It is. Don't tell me it's not who you are. I'm watching it. That's who you are right now, tonight. That's what's representing you. That's Charlotte. A bunch of people losing their fucking minds, kicking windows in, stealing shit from stores. Nothing to do with protest. Worst part of it all? It was all telegraphed. I heard it yesterday morning, right around 9-ish. There was a press conference featuring some dude from the Nation of Islam, some other dude from the NAACP, some other ex-professional football player, I believe it was. Maybe it's basketball. Who gives a shit? He's a preacher now. He's a pastor. They said what they were going to do. They explained it. Unequivocally. Let me get that word right. Unequivocally. They explained exactly what was going to happen. They said, don't tell us to stop acting a certain way. Don't tell us to stop doing this, because without justice, there is no peace. They told everyone, live on CNN, they were going to riot. They were going to break shit. They were going to lose their minds. What's the answer? What do you want? What do you want? What was the protest for? What's the end result? I watched countless black men come across CNN's airwaves last night. And none of them had a solution. None of them had any kind of an answer. Because it's at the point where nothing will help. Nothing will change this. Because the people that were in those streets last night, the vast majority of them will never, ever believe anything they're told. They have zero faith in any part of the system. They trust absolutely no one. I just heard some pastor from Charlotte just a few minutes ago talking, the same one who was talking about how police showing up in riot gear escalated the situation, and that's what caused the riot. This very same guy made the claim that the one guy who was shot, and that was a fantastic piece of news reporting. There's been police have shot and killed a man. Once people got that on their phones, I heard everybody on CNN and everybody that was there losing their minds, because they're all looking at their phones, getting the news in real time that somebody had been shot and killed. Turns out the person wasn't shot and killed. Turns out supposedly he wasn't shot by police, he was shot by someone else, by a civilian. But now, today, what's the call? We don't believe it was a civilian shooting. We want to see evidence. We want to see a ballistics report. We want proof, and they want it now. These fucking people are so used to instant gratification with their goddamn phones in their hands that they want stuff and they want it now. They want proof. They want evidence. They want to see everything. They all think they're cops, apparently. They think they're cops. They think they're attorneys. They think they are government officials. They think they should be privy to the information in real time as it happens. And that's the only way it can be fair. Because they don't believe anything anybody says. Not the governor, not the mayor, no one. And when that's where things are at, when that's the level of mentality, you've already lost. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can concede to these people that will give them any type of